Identifying
The king of cakes. Chopper for the win.
G'day guys, welcome back to Cakes by Chopper. Today we have Gir for you. This is a special video for my friend Elena, who made me this awesome Gir beanie modeled by Riley. And I just love this. It's got Chopper written on the back. It's amazing. She's so talented. And thank you, Elena, for the birthday cake. Sorry it's late. Okay, for your cake, you're going to go over to facebook.com, check out the templates, print off Gir. Then you're going to cut out just his body, ignoring his ears, his eyes, and his legs. And then cut his body from his head and cut out the head shape. And you're going to cut this out 3 times, keeping your knife vertical so that you get nice clean edges. You're going to stack his head up in 3 layers and his body in 2. And we'll just use the offcuts for the body. And this is what you should have. Then on the head, trim off the top and the sides to give it a slight rounded effect, not too much. And then you're going to fill his head with buttercream. Do all 3 layers, then the body. And don't forget to glue his body to his head with some buttercream. And then give it a full crumb coat all over and pop it in the fridge, ready to be covered in fondant. This buttercream I've used is just a plain chocolate buttercream. You can use any flavor you like, just as long as it's something for the fondant to stick to. Now, I pre-colored the fondant green and I rolled it out big enough to cover the entire cake with a lot of excess. You don't want to roll it too thin. Lay it over your cake and then push the sides in and work it down. When you get these folds in the side, just spread them apart and rub down gently, trying not to tear your fondant. Now, to cut away the excess, I use a range of different things. It depends on the cake. For Gir, I used a scraper because I like the edges and it was just perfect size. You can either use some rolled up fondant or a fondant smoother to get your cake as flat as you need to. And it gets into the nooks and crannies if you use the fondant itself. Remove all the buttercream and fallout from the bottom of the cake. Then you're going to roll a sausage out of fondant, cut them so they look just like his legs. Remember, one's a little bit bigger than the other to give that depth perception. Same thing for his hands, but you're going to flatten them out and smooth the edge down because they're going to wrap up around his body. Cut out his ears out of the green fondant because you're going to paint all of these with black food dye and then pop them into the freezer, and that'll help them set for when you apply them onto the cake. Now for his zip, you're going to roll out some white fondant fairly thin and then cut it to size. I would measure this against the template because I didn't and I had to trim it later. Just put in some of the little detail features for the zipper, and then I used a silver shimmer dust and covered it to make it look shiny and metal. Then using the head shape with the eyes cut out, I marked out where his eyes would go and created a little round disc for one eye, and the second one I made a bit thicker and cut out a corner piece so it would sit over the side of the cake. For his tongue, you're going to use a little bit of pink fondant and cut out a triangle and give it a little tongue impression, pop it into the freezer. Now for his stitching, I used half of the face template to mark out where it would be, and then just some light green food dye. And then I got the black for his nose and painted on his eyes as well. Remember, his eyes are set a little bit wide apart to give him that doughy look. It's very cute and easy to achieve. You don't want to put them straight because his eyes aren't really ever straight. Then you're going to go around the circumference of his eye and give it a really scratchy looking border. Once that's done, get a knife or a sculpting tool, punch a hole for where his tongue is going to go, give his tongue a little border with the black and push it in. Same for his ears, just cut out the little hole, push in the ears, and they should sit fine. Now here's where I had to trim his zipper. I placed it on and the zipper pull tab and went around them with a black to give them a bit more detail. Then you should be ready to roll out the border for the cake. I was hoping it would be neat enough without it, but I decided it really needed something to just finish it off. Totally up to you. I just wasn't happy with how mine looked. Then you're going to place on his feet, put some water down and stick his arms on. I folded them over so it sort of looks like he's holding his stomach. It looked very cute, I thought. And voila, there you go, you have a Gir cake. I love Invader Zim, and I hope you love Gir just as much as I do. Thanks for watching my video. I put out a new video every Friday. Subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you next week.